Hello, SS2 economic students, you're welcome to class. In today's lesson, we are going to be treating budget, um, public debt, and revenue allocation in Nigeria. Firstly, budget. A budget can be referred to as a government's estimate of its expenditure and its revenue over a period of time, usually a year. The comparison between government expenditure and its revenue over a period of time, or a financial statement showing government revenue and expenditure over a period of time, is referred to as a budget. Now, what are the importance of taking budget? Number one, for revenue allocation. In order to allocate revenue effectively amongst the various arms or tiers of government, to communicate government economic objectives and policies. Now, budget helps to know if government has achieved its aims and objectives. Through government's financial statement of its expenditure and its revenue, government can know if its objective has actually been achieved. Number three, to appraise government's performance, to know if government is actually doing its job, to know if government is effective or not. Number four, to foster economic growth and development. Budget is done in order to ensure that the country experiences economic growth and development, because government has to spend and provide social amenities that are needed by the totality of people living in the country. Then government engage in budget in order to reduce inflation and to reduce deflation. Inflation is deterrent to the development of the country, also is deflation. So government engage in budgeting in order to reduce inflation and reduce the deflation. What are the types of budget? We have basically three types of budget. We have three types of budget. We have surplus budget, deficit budget, and balanced budget. Now, budget is said to be surplus if government's expenditure is less than government's revenue. If government is spending less than what it gets from taxes, then we say that government's budget is surplus. Budget deficit. Budget deficit is a situation in which government expenditure is greater or more than government revenue. When government is spending more than what it is getting as revenue, we say that the budget is deficit. The last one is balanced budget. Budget is said to be balanced when government expenditure equals its revenue. That is, the amount that government is spending on social amenities, administration, uh, defense, and so many other reasons is equal to the amount of revenue that it gets from various sources, that is, from loans, from borrowings from external countries, to its own internal revenues, and also from taxation. Now, how can a government effectively finance um deficit budgeting? How can government finance deficit budgeting? One, when a country issues bonds. When government issues bonds to um to the general public, it can through that acquire funds that will be available in order to engage in deficit budgeting. Number two, through public loans offered by the government. Government can acquire um or can engage in deficit budgeting by acquiring loan from the general public through commercial banks and also through foreign organizations. Now, other means is probably maybe through treasury bills, treasury certificates, development loan stock, and negotiation. We are going to talk about that under the instruments for government borrowings. Now, what are the effects of financing deficit budgeting on a country? One, It increases price level. Now, when government engage in deficit budgeting, it increases the supply of money and prices will definitely increase. It causes a decrease in purchasing power. An increase in price level reduces purchasing power. It causes inflation, rise in price, then it causes depreciation of the currency, and it leads to decrease in standard of living and increase in cost of living of people living in the country. Now, the next one is national or public debt. What do we mean by national or public debt? Now, national debt or public debt refers to the sum total of money or funds that are owed by a country to both internal and external sources. All forms of money that is owed by a country to both internal and external sources is referred to as national or public debt. Remember, there are external debt and there are internal debt. So those are the two types of public debt. External debt refers to money or funds that are owed to foreign countries or foreign organizations, while internal debts are debts that are owed by a country to private organizations or organizations or companies within the country. What are the instruments or sources by which government borrow money? And that was what I was talking about the under the types of under the ways by which government um, acquire money to finance budget deficit. Now, what are the instruments or sources for government borrowing? Number one, treasury bills. A treasury bill is a debt instrument that has a maturity date of 90 days, and it is used to acquire short-term finances by the government. Treasury certificate has a maturity date of 2 years or minimum of a year, which can be rolled over. It is issued by the central bank to acquire loans for a longer period of time. Number three is national savings scheme. The federal government can develop a savings scheme where people can contribute money or save in order for use of the government of the country. Development loan stock. Now, government can actually issue a development loan stock or something that is called a bond, through which private organizations can subscribe to and borrow government or lend government money in order to finance its budget. Then, through negotiations with foreign countries and international organizations can be a means by which government can acquire or borrow money in Nigeria. Now, why do government borrow money? One, to finance budget deficit. Two, to carry out huge capital projects. Three, to meet the cost of national emergencies. Four, to reduce burden on taxpayers. That is, government can pay part of the taxes of taxpayers. Then five, to meet balance of payment disequilibrium. The next thing that we look at is revenue allocation in Nigeria. Revenue allocation refers to the way in which governments share economic resources within the country. There are two means by which government share revenue in the country. We have the vertical revenue allocation and the horizontal revenue allocation. The vertical revenue allocation refers to the way and manner in which government share its revenue or allocate its revenue amongst the various tiers of government, that is the state level, the federal level and the local level. While horizontal level revenue allocation refers to the way and manner in which government share its revenue or allocate its revenue amongst a particular tier of government. Let's say amongst the state government, we look at the various ministries within the state government, how government shares revenue among these ministries. So that is what we mean by horizontal revenue allocation. So we've come to the end of the lesson. If you have questions, please post in the question and answer section, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.